Hey guys, happy Wednesday. So we're moving on today, still looking at the close of Psalm 1:3. And this is that everything he does shall prosper and come to maturity. So this is totally unrelated, but it's the same kind of point, I suppose. I have peach trees. They're new, planted them last year. And early in the spring, but I really didn't expect, I suppose, to get peaches off of them last year. But lo and behold, after the spring, there were peaches on the trees. I could hardly believe it. I mean, they were little, and I was so excited. They're gonna get bigger. I'm gonna have a peach off of my tree this year. Joseph and I would go out and look at it almost every day just to see if it had gotten any bigger. Well, I never did get a peach off of that tree. It couldn't support it. The peach did not grow, didn't get the nutrients it needed. The tree itself was too young. So, quite sad. But I've already noticed this year there's probably 20 peaches on the tree. I was showing it to Dustin and I said, how in the world is this tree going to hold up under the weight of that fruit that it's producing? All things that we've talked about, right? Meanwhile, so this is a young tree, right? The peach tree. And my pecan tree, which is well established, is covered. I mean, the leaves are coming out. It's gorgeous. I don't have any question about it holding up under the weight of producing leaves or pecans, the fruit. And so I was terribly sad last year that the fruit of the peach tree did not prosper or come to maturity. And I'm hoping that this year is a different story. But, I see that, like, you come to the end of it, you're so close, almost there, and then it flops. It just does not, we don't reach completion. But the blessed one has a promise of fulfillment, has a promise of maturity. And that's what I want to look at today. So we're looking at day 15 now in our book. And maturity, here's our definition, of course, from Merriam-Webster's. It means to bring to completion, to become fully developed or ripe, and to become due. Maturity is fullness and success. And that is what you and I, as the blessed one, as followers of Jesus Christ, as those who put him first, who seek his word, spend time with him, we have right to expect the fruits of our labor. So those things that we work for, we do with our hands, we have right to believe that they will be successful, fully developed, and come to maturity. Now, think about any tree or any plant for that matter. The tree doesn't concern itself with the production of fruit or the provision of nourishment needed to produce that fruit. It isn't worried about the weather or bugs or anything really. We would think that's foolish to think that a tree or a plant would be concerned about what was going on the outside. It does what it was created to do, to produce. The blessed one functions just like this tree. He or she, you and I, we are not concerned about anything. But that only comes when we listen to the instructions of the Lord and we follow those instructions. I have one of my notes in here that's not concerned with external circumstances. And that only comes from what we read yesterday about laboring, that we choose to rest. We choose to trust. We choose to rely on the Father. And let's go back to that Hebrews passage. Hebrews 3:19, so just a few verses before what we read yesterday. Hebrews 3:19 says, so we see that they, and we're talking about the children of Israel, we see that they were not able to enter into his rest because of their unwillingness to adhere to and trust in and rely on God. Unbelief had shut them out. And I do not want to get so caught up and so distracted, because that's how Satan works. I do not want to get so distracted by the chaos and confusion, fear and terror that are going on around me, outside of me, so externally. I don't want to get so distracted by those things that it tampers my trust. None of that, nothing externally should tamper my trust in the Father. Satan does tempt us to distrust, but that's where we must be rooted and grounded. The more we know him, and I wrote this down, I believe the ability to trust him comes when we know him. The more we know him, the more we know his character, his heart for us, the more we trust him. The more we know him, the more we see his love for us. And the more we see his love for us, we cannot help but give ourselves over to him. So, Hebrews 3:19, we see that they were not able to enter into the rest, his rest, because of their unwillingness to adhere to and trust in and rely on God. Unbelief had shut them out. And I want to labor to enter into his rest. I keep my eyes focused on what he says. I keep my eyes focused on how secure he is, on how immovable he is, how unchanging he is. And I stay the course. Just stay the course. Remember, he promised, as your days, so shall your strength be. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye, y'all.